This episode of the Bottle Rocket podcast is brought to you by GamerClips.tv. Play, share and watch video game frags and clips with hundreds more added every day. Hit the link in the comments section to check them out.
Right. Ready when you are.
Okie dokie. Hi guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the Bottle Rocket podcast with me, Chris.
And me, Ben.
It's just going to be the two of us this week.
Lonely.
Well, we
are the better looking two of the four of us, so...
Yeah, that's why I've turned the video off for this podcast.
Yeah, well, it's so as not to offend anyone else, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Derpy.
So what's been happening in the gaming news this week?
Hit me, bro.
Well, finally, Microsoft have announced Windows 10.
Yeah, I was quite I won't say excited because I don't get excited about Windows, but intrigued because it looks like they've finally sort of got the heads screwed on after the sort of mess they made with Windows XP and then not XP, sorry, Vista, and trying to recover that with Windows 7.
I don't think Vista was too bad, but Windows, the most recent one, it was just a car crash.
Oh, Windows 8's terrible. I've got it on my laptop and I can't even use it.
See, Jake had it on his laptop, and it's basically his hardware won't integrate with it. So he's had to go through all these fixes to try and get his video working to do the podcast with, and it's just mega hard to do.
Windows 8, I believe, from use, is strictly designed for tablets and touchscreen. It's not intended for.
That's the thing. I was using it the other
desktop.
day. I was at my dad's and I was helping one of the guys there get onto the internet at their house, and it just wouldn't recognise the router. Every other device in the house would, but this was running Windows 8 and it just wouldn't recognise it.
Yeah, Windows 8 is terrible, man.
So I read quite an interesting sort of stat. In businesses, there's around 720 million copies of Windows in use.
Oof, nice. Right. Hence Microsoft's leading market share.
Yeah. Around half of those are Windows 7. Around a quarter are Windows Vista, I believe. And only 16 million of that 720 million are Windows 8.
Can't blame them.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the newfangled.
Thing is, though, as well, it's the expense of getting a full business license to use Windows. You know, they won't charge you a one-off fee. They'll probably charge you a fee per computer that uses it. So, and you know that's where they make the biggest amount of money. So, they're talking crazy amounts there.
Crazy amount. So you're looking at a late 2015 launch for Windows 10. So
I think the thing I like about it the most is the way they've made a decent attempt at integrating it with all the various devices it's going to use, and then sort of tailor making them for the devices. So it looks like the PC will have more of a bespoke desktop edition, and then you obviously have your touchscreen tablets and whatnot, and even the Xbox One's getting a bit of love as well, I think. So that's pretty cool.
It promises to be the most comprehensive platform ever.
Yeah, we'll see.
We shall see. So moving on, the latest sort of the latest issue in the PS4 Xbox One war. Pro Evo 2015 is going to be 1080p on PlayStation 4 and only 720p on Xbox One.
Yeah, it's sort of continuing the whole resolution gate issue that's been plaguing. It's been plaguing Microsoft, to be honest. I mean, in terms of pure hardware, and pure hardware specs, Microsoft and the Xbox One isn't really that much different to the PS4. There's really very little in it. But obviously the developers are finding it easier to sort of get the most out of the PS4, and I think maybe they're just not spending enough time optimizing with the Xbox One. I mean, Pro Evo last time completely missed the new consoles because they didn't bother to make one for them. So, you know, maybe that goes to some way towards saying Konami's dedication to the platforms.
Well, yeah, this is it.
But yeah, it's worrying. I wouldn't say worrying as such for Microsoft, but it's not positive news. They need as much positivity as they can get towards Xbox One based on the whole release debacle, and we're a year in, and it's seen 2 or 3 price cuts already. So all those people who dabbled in the release, they've sort of been betrayed already.
Yeah. Now, speaking of price cuts, Sony have announced that they're hiking PSN subscriptions in various areas.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, South Africa, Russia, and it's all to do with sort of exchange rates, supposedly.
Due to various market conditions, apparently.
Yeah, they're trying to bring the price in line with the euro, the dollar, and the pound, because some of these regions have effectively been getting a sort of price cut version. So it worked out that the South African version in the rand was worth about 26 quid. So we're paying
right.
40, we're paying 40 quid, and they were getting like our price effectively.
So it's less. It's less of a price hike, more just a sort of realignment.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds bad in the news when it's described as a price hike, but
Yeah.
It's win-win for the consumers, really. Obviously not the guys who are getting the prices going up, but they need to come in line with everybody else to make it fair for the whole market rather than just themselves.
That seems to be happening quite a lot. This sort of globalization of games now, because Blizzard have just announced Warcraft, or they've just announced it with Warcraft that.
Yeah.
UK customers are going to be going up to £9.99 rather than £8.99, just to bring them all in line with what everybody else is playing. So it seems that sort of globalization of these games is really sort of taking off at the moment.
Yeah, it's only fair though as well, I suppose. You can't have an uneven market, because eventually your consumers will probably start questioning that. Why are they paying less and getting the same? I know obviously exchange rates and things come into it, because it's been an issue for years with regards to just retail games. Americans have paid $60, in pounds. That works out as like, at times it's been like 25 quid. But you've got to factor in exchange rates and taxes and everything else. So, but I suppose with the online subscriptions, it's easier because it's the only sort of monetary thing that they can keep you grabbed with when you're talk about MMOs and whatnot.
Now, there's a topic here about Angry Birds, which I couldn't care less about. But what I didn't know was that they're making an Angry Birds movie.
Yeah, and it seems to have some names in it as well.
Well, Peter Dinklage, Bill Hader, Jason Sudeikis, and Josh Gad, Danny McBride.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tony Hale. Yeah, they're not.
They're not messing around.
I'm
wondering what like the storyboarding and everything is. I can't understand how a movie's going to work.
I have no idea.
Because Angry Birds, the game, doesn't really have much of a storyline to go on.
well, no, it's not. It's not the story that hooks you, is it? Let's put it that way. Let's see if I can find. I don't think I'm going to be able to find much info.
I don't think there are many details about it at the minute. They're just
storyline, plot unknown.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's that sort of surprised me.
I wonder if it's going to be another video game. Well, if it can be called a video game, but game to movie flop like most of them.
Yeah. I don't think I can't remember a good one.
I think the recent Need for Speed's quite good, but then there's no real game storyline to base that on.
Yeah,
just has to have nice cars, go fast, do dangerous stunts.
Nice cars, dangerous stunts, and scantily clad women.
Yep.
I did like Final Fantasy Advent Children, but that's probably just because I'm not sure if that'd be as accessible to a non-Final Fantasy fan.
Well, yeah,
Perhaps
it
my
was.
fandom sort of overshadowed anything in that one.
I think it's a sequel to Final Fantasy VII, so
Yeah,
you had to be on board, really, didn't you?
yeah, definitely. So, like I say, my fandom might answer that. Did you see the Doom movie?
I didn't know. Um,
That was another
I'm,
tragedy.
yeah,
They even included a scene, a whole sort of 3 minute scene with a sort of first person shooter view.
yeah, they had the first person thing. Well, it was Doom came out around about the sort of advent of 3D back in cinemas, didn't
Mm.
it? So they would, I think that part where it was all first person took place in 3D, and they were trying to sort of show off and no, but the movie looked horrendous.
It did. So, anybody listening, if you want to leave us a comment with your favourite video game movie and why it was any good, feel free to do so. Let us know.
Yeah, always happy to hear.
Yeah. Vita are getting some themes.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if did they announce that at the same time that they announced the PlayStation 4 was getting themes in an update. I can't remember reading about the Vita themes. It's just all of a sudden popped up on
Yeah,
the news feeds.
Yeah, I think the PlayStation themes came out. That was announced a while before.
Yeah.
But yeah, be able to add themes to your Vita now, which I think is pretty cool. Mine's looked very sort of generic for a while. It'd be nice to sort of customize it and.
Yeah, but the most you could do is customize the color of each of the sort of pages that you flick through, which
it's still something, isn't it? And you can change the sort of textures on your on all your app buttons and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's about time they introduced themes. Though. I mean, the device has been out for what 2.5 years, so.
Yeah, but it sort of feels to me like the Vita is just sort of finding its legs, especially with this remote play feature for the PS4, and I think there's a lot to come still from the Vita. It's a fantastic companion device to not only the PS3 but more so the PS4 now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they do need to. I mean, I suppose we're a year into the PS4 life cycle, and well, near enough. They probably want to just sort of keep getting the message out there about the PlayStation 4 and build the user base. I think after that they'll probably start giving the Vita a bit more attention and really pushing the companion side of things. Because I do think that, as you say, that is going to be the driving factor to sales in the future.
Mm.
Get another price drop on the Vita, and then obviously advertise the cool features that you get by having it associated with PS4. Bob Teapot, many more sales, and many more people using Remote Play to farm things on Destiny like me and you.
Yeah, while girlfriends are watching TV.
Well, that's the beauty of the device, isn't it? You can have a family unit all together in a room. And while you can argue that there's a bit of disconnect between the people who are sitting together, ultimately you can sit there and both do things, or if there's more of you, do things that you can enjoy, and still be able to sit in the same room and not be separated.
Yeah, definitely. The sort of I'll get the weekly Destiny update out of the way. They fixed the engram decryption. Finally, which I know has been affecting both of us.
I mean, for me personally, I've only ever had one legendary engram in the game. Unfortunately, it did come out as legendary, and that was before the update. So that was lucky.
See, I've had loads, and they've all come out as blues.
But the thing for me is how the devs said, prior to the game's release, we thought that the whole lottery aspect would be the most exciting thing about decrypting. No, it really isn't. If you get a purple, you expect at least a purple, considering how hard they are to actually gain. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about damn time they sorted it out.
So Amazon have come out with they've leaked the Little Big Planet 3 bundle.
LBP3, yeah, there's a lot of bundles going around as well.
There
Lately,
is
I've
a lot of
noticed.
bundles, yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing because it can.
Well, it's the sort of front line in the console war, isn't it, so to speak?
Yeah,
I hate
exactly.
using the term console war. I'm not in a school playground anymore.
Yeah, it's a bit of a joke to call it a war, really, because everything's on such an even keel now.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, especially leading up to Christmas, bundles are going to be particularly important for both of the companies, aren't they? So it's best to get the variety out there. Obviously, I've got mine, so I'm not interested in buying, but all is good. Get more players out there, man.
More movie news. The Dead Rising film has got a plot and a cast. I'm just trying to see
that seems to be shaping up okay as well. I mean, I played the original Dead Rising, and it was tons of fun. I didn't go out of my way to play the others, even though they look pretty cool.
This one apparently takes place in between Dead Rising 2 and Dead Rising 3 in a new city. It's going to star Jesse Metcalfe,
Right.
Megan Ory, Virginia Madsen, Dennis Haysbert, and Keegan Connor Tracy. Apparently, so more zombie movies on the way.
Yeah, hopefully this one will be able to add a little bit of humour, take away some of the seriousness, and well, not all of them are serious, of course, but bring the feeling of the Dead Rising franchise, because I think that's what sort of sets it apart from other zombie films originally. Anyway, was that there was that sort of comedic element of taking down these zombies with anything you can sort of patch together. Dildos strapped on the end of spears and whatnot.
Oh, brilliant!
So I reckon we're going to get some of that.
Hopefully it'll have a good bit of humour in it as well. Did you see the pictures that Zack Snyder and J.J. Abrams have been firing at each other recently? The Henry Cavill as a Sith Lord, C-3PO as the Dark Knight, Batman and R2-D2.
No, not. I haven't, if I'm honest.
Well, basically, they've been tweeting pictures to each other, and it's all stuff like the Gotham City police arresting a stormtrooper and stuff like that.
All right.
And basically Ben Affleck's just spoke up on it.
Was he joined the fray? Did he join the party?
He just says I think it was started because JJ and Colin Anderson, who's a great camera operator, sent me a picture of the two of them wearing cheap Batman masks. I showed it to Zach and said, this is bullshit, we have to do something. I think it's cool. The sort of meta awareness of these movies and the two directors going back and forth, it's cool.
Yeah, it's nice to have a nice little light-hearted bit of interaction between, well, I wouldn't say competing directors. I'm sure they're sort of friends and whatnot, but they're two of the biggest movies coming out. A lot of buzz about them both. So,
but yeah, I'll see if I can find the pictures and tweet him or something.
Cool, bro.
But yeah, they're definitely worth little humorous pictures.
Well, especially if you're into nerdy things like most of us, gamers.
Oh, I don't like that. So it's just flashed up on my news feed that Indiana Jones 5 has a cinematographer.
Indiana Jones.
Oh, leave it alone.
What happened to you, my friend?
Janusz Kaminski, who's made several films with Steven Spielberg, apparently he's on board to be the cinematographer. Oh, just leave it alone.
Well,
I'm so glad they only ever made 3 Indiana Jones movies.
I'm slightly disappointed.
The 4th one just didn't exist in my eyes.
I am just slightly disappointed that they've bothered to continue making Indiana Jones movies. The 4th one was horrendous. Did Lucas have much involvement with the 4th one?
I'm not. This could be completely wrong, but I was under the impression that it was part of Harrison Ford's contract for reprising the role of Han Solo.
Yeah, actually, I think I remember reading that. Yeah, he struck a deal with Disney.
That could have been complete hype and nonsense, but it's what I heard. And if anybody's willing to correct me, then step up.
I don't understand why he would make such a deal, to be honest with you. Because, did he really think that number 4 was worth his time and effort? Because it really wasn't. It was terrible, man.
It was awful. But yeah, enough said about that.
The less the better.
Pretend that never happened. So I placed an order the other day for fibre optic internet.
Whoop whoop. Wish I could do the same.
It's about time I got it, and it's got some really cool implications for Bottle Rocket. It means we'll be doing a lot more streaming, a lot more uploading. We'll get videos up quicker, basically.
More content.
Content quicker. And yeah, we'll be able to hopefully do a lot more. But what sort of grabbed me was I was on the phone to this guy at the company that I bought the fibre from. And we spent about 15 minutes talking about Destiny.
Yeah, pretty hot topic lately.
pretty hot topic, but this guy's like a 40-year-old father of however many, and it just sort of got me thinking to how wide a reach has gaming got nowadays? Because it's not just a teenager in a bedroom anymore. This is a father finding time away from his kids and his family to get his gaming in.
Yeah, no, that's right. Everybody, I suppose you've got to consider as sort of everybody's got their own personal interests, which are always going to take place away from, well, not necessarily away from, but aside to family and whatever else you've got going on in your life. But yeah, it must be harder for guys who are, who've got a growing family and whatnot, to spend the time away from the family and make time for a hobby which could quite easily give up, I suppose.
And it's not cheap as well.
No, that's another point I was going to make. Actually, it's not a cheap hobby. I suppose the one thing about it that you can say will be able to keep these guys hooked on is that with the technological age as it is and how it keeps growing, there's a hell of a lot more kids these days playing games as well. So it's even if you sort of wanted to give it up, as it were, as if it was some sort of addiction, your kids are always going to want to play games, so you're always going to have some sort of gaming facility within your household, I think, whether that's just as simple as an iPad or whatever it is, but it's not going away anymore. It's sort of becoming a mainstay.
Yeah, but do you think it's more so now, or do we just hear about it more now? Because it's becoming less taboo.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case, to be honest with you.
Do you think previously these sort of older gamers have had a NES tucked under the bed and they play like Mario Brothers late at night, or you know what I'm saying? Is it a new thing, or are we just more aware of it now because of the sort of interconnectivity of gamers?
I think with it being so much more in the mainstream has helped. That it was never one of those, you were a closet gamer. There was probably a slight.
I don't know. I think at one point there was quite a huge stigma around it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the stigma of gaming.
Oh my God, grow up! Stop playing games.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I think that has sort of changed. because games are so widespread now and so in the media, and well, the same could be said perhaps for comic books and things like that. But yeah, look at the movies that come out nowadays. If there's not 4 or 5 tentpole comic book films that come out in a year, then what's gone wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, those are the biggest earners.
Yeah, like I say, they've got such a wide reach, so accessible to so many different people.
And that's the thing that I think people's mindsets sort of come around to accepting, is that these games, they are here to stay now. It's not just a fad or some sad lonely person's hobby. It's something that near enough everybody does. You know what I mean? Like, how many wives and girlfriends have got Angry Birds, for instance, on the phones? But then happy to say to the boyfriend who sits on Destiny for an hour or two and call them a sado or whatever. I'm not saying that happens to me, but I'm sure it does happen to plenty of people.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at this study here. It's an old study, but according to a 2007 Pew Internet and American Life Project survey, more than half of American adults play video games, and 1 in 5 adults play every day or almost every day.
Nice.
So that's 7 years ago.
Yeah, and that's a significant portion of people as well, because America ain't no small country.
Well, this is it. That's a massive. And to think how the industry's grown in the last 7 years.
Yeah.
That figure's only grown as well.
Yeah, precisely. Well, did we make mention to some stats as well recently about sort of a lot of the gamers are female? I mean, we were making.
Yeah, that's a big thing as well at the moment.
We were making assumptions about, were these gamers playing on smartphone games, or were they playing consoles, or what? Yeah, we were sort of contemplating all those different things. But that's a statistic and all, that's worth remembering.
Mm-hmm. Now, this... Oh, no, not that one. If I go on this one here... 10 reasons why adults who play video games are happier. I love these things. They're brilliant.
Positive story.
This is courtesy of Lifehack, which is a brilliant website. Some really, really cool articles on there. But apparently they're more connected to their inner child.
Yeah, I can sort of see that.
They have an easy escape from the stress of life. They're exposed to greater creativity and imagination. They immediately have something to bond over with other people. They have more of a balanced life perspective. They have better hand-eye coordination. They can include their spouse, friends in their me time. They always have something to look forward to. They can turn exercise into a game, and they can turn boring situations into fun ones. And I must admit, I think I relate with some, if not all of those.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe not so much the spouse one, because it all depends on personal preference.
Oh, of course, yeah.
At the end of the day, and whether or not your girlfriend's enjoy or
yeah. I mean, well,
whatever.
me and Jen have sat down and played Little Big Planet Racing before.
Yeah.
It's all about the individual game itself, isn't it?
It's the girlfriends never like the same games, though, do they? They always like the rubbish games.
Well, that's down to opinion, isn't it? That's down to personal preference again.
Damn, bro.
But yeah, I mean...
Yeah, there's a lot to be said in terms of the positives that could be had with gaming. I think if you read too much into sort of widespread media, you're only going to get the bad stories, aren't you? You're never going to get the real truth of the matter. Yeah,
the media at the moment, anyway, only seems to sort of publish the negativity and the gaming addiction and the kids that take gaming too far and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, that's because they've run out of stories of people who are addicted to drugs and
yeah,
everything else, because they've done that to death already.
Video gaming is the new heroin.
Yeah, precisely. There's always got to be some kind of scapegoat or villain.
We've touched on that in a previous podcast, and I think it's just that bad rap that gaming gets. It's still part of that stigma that's quite widespread, really.
Yeah, well, I think there's always going to be some people who can't forget about that sort of, not I want to say dark, but the sort of negative element behind the whole hobby of gaming, and the influence and all this rubbish, which you could argue that affects anything. Watch a movie, it turns you into a serial killer. Play a game, turns you into a serial killer. There's all of that. It's always going to be around.
It certainly is.
Too much insecurity in the world.
Too much insecurity. And on that note, I think we'll call it for this week.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Catch us on the regular channels. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Keep up to date. I've been Chris.
And I've been Ben.
Catch you next time.